Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. This podcast is dedicated to exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose. We believe that you approach your work and your lives with a servant's heart, you can truly make a difference. It doesn't matter where you come from. That's the cool thing about a servant's heart. Anybody can do it. The show was created to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you to help you make an impact in your world. And boy, when you listen to my guest today, I had a 5-minute talk. I'm already fired up having him on the show because he does a lot of things, but he's very, very smart. He's going to give you a lot of great tips. So while you're thinking about my guest or listening to my guest today, you'll probably think about him as well. I want you to think about how you're going to serve yourself and others today and what impact you create today. As I always say, the key word there is today, because I hear people come back to me and go, it was a month before I did it. And I forgot to do it. Listen to my great guest, start serving yourself and everybody else that you meet, create that impact, and I guarantee you it's going to make your life much better. With that being said, I want to thank my incredible sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine being part of an exclusive community of high-income, successful business owners and entrepreneurs from very diverse industries. Together, building a thought leader platform to make an impact and change in the world. If you're interested in the community, reach out and I'll get you more information. With that being said, impact, change in the world. I think this guy's doing it, and he's doing it actually in Florida. Just listening to what he knows and the different things he's doing, you're going to be amazed at a guy that's 22. I'm half kidding. We had a joke about him being 22. But Tommy, I want to welcome you to the show.
Steve, thank you so much for having me. You're right. The conversation definitely got me energized. We actually had to pause ourselves because we were getting into too much content so we could remember that we were here to record a podcast today, not just have a great conversation. So I already think we're going to have fun.
Yeah, no, it's thank you for saying that, because sometimes I think I better start the recording right away and do shorts with that, but we'll go off that. You do a lot of things. We're going to get into all the different things you do, or some of the different things, but I got to know, what gets you out of bed every morning, Tommy?
So helping other people succeed, I think is a big thing. I always say my story started in 2020. That was just 4 short years ago. It didn't. I have a long story before then, but 2020 affected us all in different ways. It basically shuttered my businesses. I'm sure it did many of your listeners. My mom developed cancer and has since passed from that. I felt like I needed to make change. I needed to stop holding myself back. And I wanted to explore how I could do better, and then how I could give all the information about not just my successes, but my failures to other people. And so I have a drive to get up and make change. And that's what I try to do every day. And some days I'm more successful than others, but it keeps me up and it keeps me going.
What I love about you, Tommy, I know I've just met you, but what hearing you and your passion is you do a lot of things. And for some people it might be a lot and not others. Do you do that because it allows you to impact different people and serve them in these different areas?
It does. We always remember in school, they talk about a widget, this fake product or thing that we do, right? And so the widget is just so that we can apply it to multiple different industries. Well, I learned in my career that I can apply one lesson to 5, 10, 15, 20 different industries, that it can be an agnostic lesson. And so when I figured that out, I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm not an AI specialist today, but construction needs to start learning about AI. And so as a contractor, I co-founded an AI company, and we're working on construction takeoff estimations. And we can revolutionize the construction industry with the technology that's out there, and nobody's really touching it in the construction lane. And then you start realizing this with everything else I do in a capital company and a school and other projects that I work on, is that it's the same lesson, but it's just reapplied differently. So why not use that knowledge and push it on and use it again and use it again and use it again and just reapply it to a different situation?
Yeah, it's a number of the projects you mentioned. So we got to just add 10 more projects to your plate and you'll be just fine. Just
Oh,
half
yeah.
kidding. It's just what you need. So you launched Pride Construction Coalition. And as I
I
told you,
did.
my dad was construction. I know it quite well back in the 80s when my dad was doing it. Why'd you start that? What was the mission for it?
So when I was first in the construction industry, I was pretty in the closet, coming to terms with myself. But, I met gay individuals and it didn't bother me. I didn't think about it. I would constantly hear the water cooler talk, the gay jokes, the macho jokes. To be honest, a lot of them weren't in hate. It was just because it's guy talk and funny. But the thing is, it's not kind of funny when you realize that people are keeping their families, their lives completely to themselves, that are, actually afraid of being outed and losing their job. And in the construction industry, we have not been as good as accepting new individuals or other individuals for their way of life as, say, the finance industry or the marketing industry or the arts. There's this perception that every contractor is this big gruff guy that's going to yell and scream at you. And I'm sure your dad encountered plenty of those. I've encountered plenty of those. But the reality is, just like society's changed as we've grown and learned, that most of the construction industry is not like that. There are many, many of my colleagues that are in the closet. They're just afraid for their jobs, their livelihoods. This is how they feed their families. They're afraid to come out and talk about their same-sex spouse or their LGBT child. And so what I wanted to do is say, hey, look at me. I'm your cis white male. I'm your standard, stereotypical looking straight guy. I'm not a straight guy. I'm just here to get my job done. Actually, in my book, there's a chapter. It's called "I'm Not Your Interior Designer" because I suck with color selection. I'm bad at it. I don't do design and style. That's not me. I can build it. I can review it. I can tell you whether I like it or not. But I have designers, I have color people, I have people that know and understand that style. Those are the ones that select your tile and your colors and your palettes. And I'm the one that builds it.
Smart, smart, smart. Partnerships are so cool. My dad used to say, I'll bring my dad back. I love you, Dad. Don't recreate the wheel. And that's in
Yep.
construction really big because I know people try to build everything. I'll do the cement, I'll do the foundation, I'll do the walls. It's like you're okay at all of them. You have an okay house.
Mhm.
Talk about your partnerships because I think for everybody listening, not just construction, how important they are.
So I have used construction and the needs of construction to start developing partnerships with other organizations. So a couple of them. Some of them are my organizations. For example, I've co-founded an AI company. We're trying to reduce menial tasks for contractors. 40% of the construction workforce is retiring in the next 5 to 6 years. We don't have enough people to replace them. And so I formed a partnership with an AI company and ended up taking an equity stake in that company to help them develop technology. I'm forming partnerships with local individuals to create a nonprofit charter school for high school students that want to get into the trades. My generation was told, hey, go to college, you'll make six figures when you get out. It turns out a lot of us listened to that, but we didn't get that paycheck that we were expecting when we got out of school. In the meantime, we were also told, don't get your hands dirty, don't do labor. Well, in reality, plumbers can build the same rate attorneys can right now because there's such a shortage. And so using partnerships with local communities, we're forming a charter school so that we can get more kids educated. Forming partnerships with local nonprofits. I have a relationship with the Florida Aquarium. It's a very special memory for me. When I was back in elementary school, it first opened. It was a big field trip for me, driving a whole 45 minutes away from the little country town I was in to get to the big city and see that aquarium. To this day now, I sponsor one of the sea turtle rehabilitation tanks. I constantly give shout outs, promotions, bring executives. I've taken executives diving in the aquarium tank before as some of my networking events. And in such, it's generated awareness and donations for the aquarium. So it allows that partnership where they're giving to me, I'm giving to them, and it works great. Another great example of a partnership is one nonprofit I ran. I learned of a shoe drive that another nonprofit was running. So I just reshared that. I got a contact from a prison distributor. They had thousands of pairs of shoes that they could not sell to this prison system anymore. They're basic shoes, but they are still shoes. And they donated them. I just completed a second round. It's probably $40,000 or $50,000 worth of shoes we've donated now based on a Facebook post. That was just a strategic partnership. I didn't ask for anything in return. Now we have a ton of refugee families, a ton of families that are orphans that have shoes that wouldn't have had any shoes to begin with. And that's related back to better relationships with the community, acknowledgments in the community, and I don't ask for it and I still get it. They want to show, and I do the same. I try to give back. I focus on giving, creating a value for my partnerships, helping somebody else, and it has been successful in coming back to me.
Well, old guys aren't the only ones that can give. You know, people you hear the
Yeah.
old guys, they're doing all the film. No, you're a young guy. I'm rarely speechless. I'm speechless because so much that you're doing is all about the servant's heart. But here's the thing, and audience, I want you to hear this. He's not homeless. He's not broke. And I say that with, you can do all this and still be extremely successful and take care of your family, take care of yourself with all the expenses, everything you got to do. Why do you think that's so?
So everybody thinks to give to charity, you have to write a big check. That's not the case. I do write some checks, right? But that shoe post I did was free. It didn't cost me anything to write that post and make connections. I always encourage young entrepreneurs, individuals that have just gotten out of school, that are maybe in their first couple of years of their career, don't know what to do. I encourage them to find a passion they volunteer for. You never know, just being a big brother, a big sister, how valuable that is. I recently hosted an event. I had a representative from Big Brothers Big Sisters sit on the panel, and one of the littles that she mentored was in that program as an adult, and he has a successful career now. So talking about the gratitude that she had, the pride that she had, and it was just her giving her time as she's sitting on a panel, and then now one of her people came to support her, and he's a big proponent of the program. And so you don't have to just give money. Say you're an accountant. You just got your CPA license and you're working and you don't know what to do. Did you know you can volunteer for a small nonprofit, probably for a few hours a month, doing their bookkeeping? As a CPA, it's going to take you a blink of an eye. It's a great little practice gig for you, especially if you're out of college. You can do their bookkeeping, which is usually minimal, but it saves them hundreds or thousands of dollars a month. And you're giving back without $0 coming out of your bank account. Meals on Wheels is a great charity. Picking up trash is a great charity. Just making connections, talking to students are great connections, and you don't have to spend $1 doing any of that. So people have to get out of that mentality that supporting a charity means writing a check, because it doesn't. Now, if you have the means, if it's $10 a month, if it's a gift here, if it's a turkey to the VFW so a vet can have a Thanksgiving, do that. Please do that. You'd be surprised, donating 10 turkeys to the VFW might cost you $100, $100 or $150 if you get the discounts. That's not that much to ask once a year. You'd be surprised what you can do without putting that out. And if you have the ability to write a check, then do that too. That's great. But people need volunteers almost more than they need cash.
Yeah, that's so true. I speak about this all the time. You're my brother from another mother. I'm proudly say that because you're just get me so fired up. So what did you learn in your experience in the past, the different professional jobs that you had, to get you where you are today and have this mentality of a servant's heart?
So, I wanted to be an attorney, and then I realized that wasn't my path. And then I went into finance and accounting, and I actually was pretty good at that. My last job was a director of finance and accounting in a mid-scale resort. So think hospitality, marinas, food and beverage, beaches, condo hotels kind of thing. The market kind of let out, and this was the early 2000s or mid 2000s, 2008, 9, 10-ish area. And then I got job offer to be a project manager, actually through a prior connection in a prior resort. And I was recruited by one of these companies, and they're one of the billion-dollar companies that was buying all the distressed single-family homes at discounts, flipping them and renting them. I was one of the first people in the country to do that, to learn the system, to actually develop that system. So when you see the Invitation Homes of the world today, or those mega billion companies that have 100,000 homes under rent, I was at the forefront of being one of those project managers, which kind of forced me to learn construction at an accelerated pace. Most people might take 5, 10 years to learn this. In the matter of just 3 years, I had overseen over 3,000 projects.
Wow.
It's astronomical, the things I've seen. So I realized that I'm a good contractor. I'm a great project manager. I'm great at getting skills and resources from point A to point B, looking at the financial decisions of that. And so then that's when I realized project management's a universal skill. If I'm trying to job cost a hamburger, it's very similar to job costing a job site. It's a number of ingredients or materials that equate to a total cost. And that's how you generate your material costs budget.
Yeah.
And so when I realized I could replicate that over each different type of industry, and with the unique balance of a hospitality service industry and a finance accounting background and a construction background, then it just gets easy looking at the local retail store that might ask me to mentor them on something, because I can talk about units and SKUs. I can talk about AI. I can talk about marketing. I can talk about these subjects because I've had experience in multiple different industries now.
Man, that's so amazing what you just said. The lesson I want people to understand too is you can do these different things and give your stuff away free. I mentor people all the time. Your CPA story, I'm actually going to borrow that when I share with people. That is a perfect example, because people are so, I broke, I got to give, how am I going to give my time away free? Guarantee you, and you've seen this, Tommy, and verify, when you give your stuff away free, I'm not saying 40 hours a week. You're not saying that either, but just give a portion of your time to people to help them. Your life will change and you'll be successful, right?
It will. And I say, when you're standing with people with like mindsets, when you're volunteering at the animal shelter, when you're volunteering on Meals and Wheels, you're now working with a future friend, a future spouse, a future employer. You don't know who you're going to meet, but you do know that the people you're meeting are aligning more with your values.
Yeah.
Because you're standing in the same room with the same cause. So that's great. I tell every young entrepreneur, you just started this company? Yeah, I've been here for about a year. So are you going to work for this company for the rest of your life? They're like, probably not. I said, who's your next prospect? I don't know. What are you doing to get out there and meet them? So it's a great way to double team. You're giving back and networking at the same time. There's nothing wrong with receiving a benefit. Nothing wrong with receiving a benefit from volunteering, like meeting new people.
Exactly. When you give, you should be able to receive. I 100% agree with you. People understand serving is important now. You've so well established that. But I got a question about ADUs. I'm in California. They're becoming very big out here. What's your thoughts on them, and maybe explain what an ADU is?
So an ADU is called an accessory dwelling unit. And for layman's terms, it used to be called mother-in-law suites or a teeny house. But they're not teeny houses on their own, like on its own little lot of land. It's a piece of property. It's on your piece of property. Sorry. It's like a little apartment in the back. Might contain a kitchenette, a bathroom, a bedroom, that kind of thing. And what it's designed to live more affordably. So ADUs are becoming popular here in Florida because, just like California, we have so many people living and we have to increase our density. So what it does is, if you're a homeowner and you want to build another structure, you can build a small structure in the back of your house. That structure can be used for an elderly family member. So say they live up north and they want to retire, they want to sell their home, but they don't want to be in a living facility. They can still have their own independence in a smaller unit, maybe 600 square feet, that's on your property, but that's still theirs. They still have their independence. If you have a teenager that's doing okay, that's getting out of school, that's trying to get in the job market, that has a little bit of rent money, but not a lot, it's a great place for them to stay. It's great to use for rental income if your jurisdiction or your municipality allows that. So a lot of people can build. It immediately increases the value of your house by the square footage that you've increased it. So a lot of times it covers the construction costs. Then you're cash positive if you rent that out in certain circumstances while you're receiving the appreciation on the real estate. And so it's like an investment for you, which is paying for itself almost immediately in most circumstances. They're a great solution to being able to increase density without having to go with mega mansions, without building these 5,000 square foot houses, 3,000 square foot houses. You can do something small and they're more affordable. So instead of spending $3,000-4,000 on rent, maybe you can spend $1,500 to $2,000 or $1,500 to $2,000 on rent. Sometimes less in that circumstance, and still give a new, clean, safe place to live while you're working towards your goal of putting money down and buying your own house.
Independence too.
Yes.
Especially with the teenager and your kids. hey,
Yep.
even though it's just across the lawn or whatever, there's
Yeah.
that independence they can learn at a less. I love this. I knew you'd be an expert at this, and this is so great. I want to thank you very much because I'm always curious. I've got a lot of people that sell ADUs here, always wanting a deeper look at it. And reach out to him, and I'll get his contact information for you. Reach out to Tom. I'm sure he can help you with that if you're interested. I want to talk about the
Absolutely.
book. We're coming close to an end here, but building success, a toolbox for coming out on top. I want to be on top. Tell me how I can do it.
So acknowledge your failures. That's a big part. So I grew up poor. I didn't even know I was poor. And the first chapter is entitled My Backpack Told Me I Was Poor, because when I was in elementary school, all the other kids were basically my socioeconomical status. We really didn't know. It was just life. That's how it was. I go to a private middle school. It was a public middle school, but it was ran like a private school. And so it was tuition free. That's the only way I could have afforded to go. And I realized that, I had the Kmart sneakers and the Walmart backpack, and everybody else had a fancy backpack called JanSport. Oh, I can't afford that. The Nike tennis shoes, the nicer cars pulling up, and the nicer cars meaning just a general middle class car. And so then I realized that I didn't come up with means that a lot of other kids did. So in the book, I kind of take it through my story of all the lessons I've learned, being the poor kid, growing up, getting into entrepreneurship, different stages, lessons I've learned, times I've failed. I've sat next to so many professionals. There's one not too long ago, sit next to me with a several $1,000 suit and told me, hey, before 2020, I had 1,100 employees nationwide. Now I have 11. He says, I lost it all. And they won't say that publicly. And so I say my failures publicly so that it gives people inspiration and hope to say, hey, look at what I'm doing today, but it wasn't always that way. And that's okay. You're going to build back up. So it's little tips, tricks, tidbits, quirky stories, weird quotes, and funny stuff in the book that kind of shows a little bit about my journey, what I'm working on, and how somebody else can do the same thing in their own way.
Wow, and that's an amazing story. And we all have failures. Warren Buffett failed, I think, over 40 times. Businesses he had the bank close.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, he's one of the richest guys in the world. Failed.
Yep.
I
Yep.
love that. Well, you got a book buyer in me. I'm going to buy the book because I love people talking about humbleness. I love that because we can learn so much lessons from that. Let's talk about your podcast. What's the name of
Sure.
it? What's it about?
It's called Tommy's Toolbox. And so season one was actually more about the construction industry, networking, and trades. Season two just launched, and we actually had Mayor Jane Castor from the city of Tampa on the inaugural episode of season two. And we're going towards more towards economic development in the Tampa Bay region, talking to local CEOs, professionals from multiple organizations, nonprofits, major connectors in the area, and city officials to get more education about what's happening in Tampa. Tampa's a booming city. Even with what's projected to be a slight economic downturn coming up, we're not seeing that in Tampa. A little bit of slowdown, but we're not seeing a loss. It's huge. And so Tommy's Toolbox is just kind of a mechanism to talk about Tampa. And then we'll take it on to the next level next season, season three. And we won't give any spoilers because season two just launched. But it's the idea about getting great professionals to give great tips and advice to other individuals.
Amen to that. I love that. You're inspiring, educating, and motivating. I appreciate that. So Tommy's Toolbox, which it's a great name. It just rolls off your tongue. Tommy's Toolbox. I want to end the show. Again, I got to thank you so much. You meet somebody for the first time. You just never know. You've been an absolute blessing to my audience and to me. I've learned so much. I've got notes here that I get to go over later on. So thank you so much for being an incredible guest.
You're very welcome. It's always a pleasure to be on a podcast. It's especially fun when it's somebody like you and we just kind of resonate so well. So thank you.
You're very welcome. So here's the question I like to ask my guests at the end. You have a reservation at a restaurant, could be Tampa, no matter where. It's a table of 4. You're going to sit, of course, in one of the chairs, but who are you going to invite, dead or alive, to sit in those chairs? Why? And what food would you order?
Okay, so if I could do at least just one, let me do one because this actually came up literally today. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is somebody I would love to sit at a table with. And of course, we would have hamburgers and a Coke, his meal of choice. Because the man is, like you just brought him up, he's one of the most wealthy individuals in the world. And he still lives in a suburbia type house. and he still believes in this, I don't want to call it frugal lifestyle, but within a normal middle-class man's means is how this man lives. And yes, he can get on his private jet for security and go to his meeting in Thailand if he needs to and wherever he needs to do, but he still chooses to live in a humble manner. And I think that is so amazing. Political figures otherwise, it'd be kind of cool to meet JFK. He was part of a revolution. That would be interesting. He'd have to eat burgers. I'm sure a Catholic boy like him could have no problem scarfing down a burger. And I'm not sure who else I would want to meet. There's so many that it seems like limiting it to 4 is almost impossible.
Well, I'll sit in the third chair because I would love
There
to
you go.
listen to JFK and Warren Buffett. I'd be right with you, Tommy, eating a burger and fries and
That's
I'll
right.
drink water. But that's it's interesting. I heard about Warren Buffett. Honestly, if you don't know, look him up. He's still driving the same truck, I heard, for 10 years, right?
I think so. He will not waste. He doesn't show. He's not that kind of individual.
That's what exactly is a great, thank you, great description. He does not waste. Yeah, he's got a private jet. Well, if I had billions of dollars, I'm not going to fly commercial to Thailand. I'm going to jump in a jet, comfortable, and he deserves that right to do that. So, well, again, thank you, audience. Can you do me a huge favor? Comment on this YouTube channel because it'll come out in a couple of days. You'll see it on my YouTube channel. Critique the podcast. Give me good or bad. Tell me, I'd love to help grow this because it's for you. This incredible guest I just had has just motivated you guys, inspired you guys to do more, even with your failures. And the other thing is subscribe to the podcast. And people don't realize when you subscribe, they're like, oh, Steve's trying to get a bunch of subscribers. But here's the power of it. You can find Tommy's podcast easier by subscribing. The channel's there. And you can just search him and listen to this again. Talk about motivation. I'm going to do that because this has just been an incredible show. The other thing, too, is share with your family and friends. You know somebody in the construction space or needs to grow their business or needs Tommy's toolkits? Toolbox, toolkits. I'm changing the name already. You go ahead and access that too. And as always, me and Tommy want to thank you all for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day.